Very warm regards to all of you. Myself, Dr. Jaswinder Kaur, Professor and HOD in Vivek Ayurvedic College, UP, India. First of all, I would like to thank Apna Association who has given me this opportunity to share the concepts of female infertility and its management described in Ayurvedic texts. Infertility, according to WHO, is a disease of the reproductive system defined by the failure to achieve a clinical pregnancy. Clinical pregnancy is the pregnancy that is confirmed by both the high levels of HCG as well as the USG confirmation of the gestational sac or heartbeat. Unlikely to the chemical pregnancy, which is a very early pregnancy loss before implantation even, and even before the next period, or I should say the missed period, we can say even before the diagnosis, most of the women don't even realize that they have had a chemical pregnancy. Clinical pregnancies are extremely common and account up to 70% of all the conceptions. That's why WHO has clearly mentioned the non-achievement of clinical pregnancy after 12 months or more of regular unprotected sexual intercourse. Now, this is the infertility data which shows that the infertility does not only depend upon the fertility potential of the female partner, but also on the male partner. The male partner is directly responsible in about 30 to 40% of cases. But even today, our society does not accept this. It blames only the female to be the responsible cause of infertility, who is responsible in about 40 to 55% cases, as you can see here. No doubt, the frequency of female factors is more than that of the males, but not too much that only the females are said to be the only responsible cause of infertility. Both are almost equally responsible for the failure of conception. So, both should be taken as the responsible factor equally. Now, there are about 10% of cases which are due to the impairment in both the partners, where female causes as well as male causes both have to be treated by the doctor simultaneously. These 10% cases are of the whole, both factors are responsible. The remaining 10% are unexplained in spite of thorough investigations. It is also strange that 4 out of 10 cases of an unexplained category, where no cause is defined why the infertility is there, the 4 out of 10 cases of unexplained category become pregnant within 3 years without having any specific treatment. We have seen in our practice that some patients come to us and for taken the treatment for long, but left everything and say that they have left everything now after exhaustion, and surprisingly then the lady conceives without taking any treatment. These types of cases come under the unexplained category. Now, infertility according to Ayurveda, I should say female infertility according to Ayurveda, is termed as Vandhya. Our ancient science has given the fertile person the most superior position. So if we talk about the significance of fertility, it's well explained in ancient texts, as we can see here, that Charak in Chikitsasan chapter 2 has compared the infertile person to a shadeless tree. He has said that achayascha ek shakhascha nishphalascha yatha druma anisht gandhascha ekascha nirapatyascha tatha narah. That means the infertile person, which is compared to the shadeless tree, cannot give shade to anyone and is useless, in fact, in every sense. An infertile person lives an inactive life which is free of reputation and dignity and is useless. Infertile person is compared not only to a shadeless tree but also to an unlit lamp and a dry pond that cannot pacify the thirst of a person. It is well explained in Charak. Now, on the other hand, a fertile person is compared to many branched green tree that gives shade, fruits, and its all benefits to others. Charak has said the fertile person, compared the fertile person to this green tree by saying that Bahu Shakho Ayam Iti. A fertile person lives a life which is full of auspiciousness, which is appreciable, admirable, and fortunate. Then Acharya Charak has said that progeny leads to love, strength, happiness, enthusiasm, vitality, spread, fame, satisfaction, fortune, and racial growth to a fertile person. That is, these all are the under the subject of a child. So fertility is a very important subject for well-being. When fertility is questionable, then the couple may have unstable relationships. Various families have been broken, even in this educated culture, when fertility becomes questionable. So fertility is a very important subject for well-being. Around 1/6 of the couples across the world suffer from infertility. Not a small value, so this must be managed. Now, understanding the significance of fertility, we will come to our topic, that is female infertility and its management through Ayurveda. In ancient science, not only the inability to conceive is called infertility, but failure of successful continuation of pregnancy, leading to continuation of pregnancy, which leads to a live child, is also taken in the definition of infertility, or we can say Vandhya. That means Vandhya is not only the failure of successful not only the inability to conceive, but also the abortions, recurrent abortions, stillbirth, IUD, all these are come under the term Vandhya. In Harit Samhita, 6 types of Vandhya have been described as Vandhya Syat Shat Prakaren Balyen Api Athva Punah Garbhakoshasya Banghatva Tatha Dhatushyat Api Jayate न च गर्भस्य संभूतिज्ञ कदाचन काकबंध्या भवेत च एका अनपत्या द्वितीयका गर्भस्रावी तृतीयात् कथिता मुनि सप्तमहि मृतवत्सा चतुर्थी स्यात् पंचमी च बलक्ष्यात्. That means here he has explained that one is the immature type of reproductive organs, may be due to balyavastha, garbhakosh bhang or dhatukshay. Then among the other 5 types, first is kakbandhya, second anapatya, third garbhasravi, fourth mritvatsa, and the last one is balikshayat. So these 6 types of Vandhya can be compared with modern science as the first type, when the reproductive organs are immature enough to conceive, may be due to balyavastha, that is immature genital organs, garbhakosh bhang, that is congenital anomalies of uterus like Mullerian dysgenesis or agenesis, or may it be due to dhatukshay, that is excessive weakness of reproductive organs. Then secondly, kakbandhya, which is compared to secondary infertility. That is, the female has one baby and there is delayed pregnancy. Now, anapatya, primary infertility, garbhasravi, recurrent abortions. As I have already told that in the definition of Vandhya, not only the inability to conceive is called infertility, but failure of successful continuation of pregnancy. That means the recurrent abortions come under this category. This is also taken in the definition of infertility, or we can say Vandhya. Similarly, Mritvatsa or IUD and stillbirths, intrauterine death and stillbirths, are also taken into account as Vandhya, as come under the category of Vandhya. And at last, Balikshya, infertility due to general debility like anemia, deficiency of vitamins, minerals, or other supplements. Describing the types of Vandhya, the causes of Vandhyatva have also been well explained by Acharya Harith. We have seen here the causes of Vandhyatva. These are the causes of Vandhyatva, which have also been well explained by Acharya Harith. Now, the causes of infertility by Acharya Charak. Maharishi Charak has also explained the different causes of infertility. According to him, Yoni Pradoshan, Manso Abhitapat, Shukra Asrik Ahar Vihar Doshat, Akal Yogat, Balk Sangshyat, Cha Garbhe Chirat Vindati Sa Prajapi. That means even a lady having a child may have delayed pregnancy, that is secondary infertility, due to Yoni Pradosh. 20 types of Yoni Pradosh have been described in Ayurvedic texts. Manso Abhitab, that is mental stress, which is the most important factor. Then Shukra Asrik Dosh, that means the abnormality of the sperm and ovum. Ahar Vihar Dosh, that is improper nourishment of the lady. Akal Yog means intercourse in non-ovulatory period. Balkshay again here means general debility or deficiency of the supplements. Above all, Charak in Sutrasthan chapter 25, where he has mentioned the best dravyas, Shresht dravyas described by Charak, he said that for Garbhadharananam, mental happiness is of prime importance. Somanasyam Garbhadharananam. So mental happiness should be taken as the most important underlying factor of conception. Not only the Yoni Pradosh, Manaso Abhitap, etc. are the causes of infertility, but Jat Harini, described by Kashyap in Revati Kalp, is also an important cause of infertility. That is inability to conceive or even abortions, IUD or stillbirths. Jat Harini actually is the group of diseases like infectious, genetic, environmental, etc., which are potentially fatal and responsible for the perinatal death as well as female infertility. Jat Harini destroys the fetuses, born children or to be born, destroys the children of the females with unrighteous and unreligious acts. These women suffer from reproductive pathologies, PCOD, hypogonadism, menstrual irregularities, chromosomal abnormalities, hormonal imbalances, and hence infertility. So Jat Harini here means that the group of diseases like some types of infections lead to the death of the baby or fetus, born children. So these all come under the category of Jat Harini. Now, having a look on different causes of infertility, it is also important to know the most important factors responsible for conception. Sushruta explains 4 factors which are responsible for conception. These are said as Dhruvam Chaturunam Sanidhyad Garbhasyat Vidhi Purvakam Ritu Kshetrambu Bijanam Samagryat Ankuro Yatha. That means Ritu, Kshetra and Ambu and Bij. Ritu, Kshetra, Ambu and Bij. These are the main 4 factors which are responsible for conception. Dalhan, Tikakar of Sushrut, has well explained these factors as Ritu compared to the Rajahekal, that is 12 days after menstrual flow, or the ovulatory period when the ovulation occurs and the sperm and ovum meet and for the implantation. Then Kshetra. Kshetra is described by Dalhan as the Garbhashay, that means the state of uterus. It should be very normal and no pathology should be there, which is the main factor responsible for conception. Ambu. Ambu is Ahar Pakjay Ras Dhatu. That is female nutrition. Female nutrition is also important. Bij. Bij means Stri Punsyo Artav Shukra. That is state of ovum and sperm should be in normal conditions. Again, I should say that mental happiness is the most important factor responsible for conception. That is Somanasyam Garbhadharananam. said by Charak. Mental happiness. Now, understanding the causes of infertility described in our ancient texts, now we'll enlist the causes of infertility described in modern science. Ovulatory causes contributes to 30 to 40%, like dysovulatory, anovulation, corpus luteal insufficiency. Tubal factors contribute to 25 to 35%, tubopathy following tubal infection, pelvic endometriosis. Then uterine factor contributes to 10%, that is unfavorable endometrium for nidation, chronic endometritis, fibroids, synechiae, congenital malformations. Cervical factors contribute 5%, ineffective sperm penetration is the most important one. Chronic cervicitis, immunological factors like presence of anti-sperm antibody, which causes the hostility to the sperm. Now, these all are well explained under yoni pradoshas described by ancient acharyas like Vataj yoni vyapad, atrophic vaginitis or dryness of vagina. The main cause of infertility in this case is difficulty in sperm ascent. Pittaj yoni vyapad compared to acute PID. The main cause of infertility here is the anovulation. Kaphaj yoni vyapad is compared to trichomoniasis or candidiasis, which leads to hostility to spermatozoa. Similarly, Sannipataj is compared with mixed infections. Hostility to spermatozoa is the main cause of infertility in this case. Acharna, which is compared to pruritus vulva, and Jantukarak, it is said Jantukarak, that means microbial. So this leads to dyspareunia. Aticharna compared with nymphomania and leads to dysfunctional orgasm. Prakcharna compared with low backache leading to pelvic pathology. Udavarta compared with dysmenorrhea leading to pelvic pathology. So these all are the yoni vyapadas like putragni compared to repeated abortions, and this leads to loss of conception. Antarmukhi compared to retroversion and leads to os is occluded in this case by anterior vaginal wall. That's why the sperm doesn't gain entry into the female reproductive organs. Now Suchimukhi is compared with pinhole os. The main cause of infertility here is the difficult ascent of the sperm. Shushka is compared with marked estrogen deficiency and vaginal atrophy, which leads to dyspareunia. Shandi is Marut Upahat Bij Dosh and is compared to Turner syndrome. Chromosomal abnormality is there, which leads to anovulation. Mahayoni is compared to Procidentia. Decubitus ulcers are the main cause of infertility here. Karnini compared to cervical growths, which leads to obliteration to sperm ascent. Paripluta, dyspareunia. Immunological factors are the main cause of infertility here. Vamini, early abortion. Uppluta first. Uppluta, trichomoniasis and candidiasis. Hostility to spermatozoa is the main cause of infertility. Vamini compared with early abortion. Main cause of infertility, loss of conception, no doubt, obviously here. Arajaska is compared to secondary amenorrhea due to weakness. Hormonal deficiencies are the main cause. Rakta is compared to DUB, that is dysfunctional uterine bleeding. Main cause of infertility here is the anovular bleedings. So these all are the yoni pradoshas which leads to infertility and well explained in Ayurvedic texts. And we can compare these all factors to the ovulatory factor, tubal factor, uterine factor and cervical factors described in our modern science. Now, coming to the line of treatment, there are 6 basic lines of treatment where we have to work. First, Nidan Parivarjan, that is avoiding the underlying cause of infertility. Second, Shodhan Karm, that is detoxification of the body by Snehan, Swedan, Vaman Virechan and Vasti. Thirdly, Shaman Chikitsa, that is oral medications. Then Pathya, that is following the diet regimes, and yoga and meditation, and at last Davya Pashra or spiritual management. These are the line of treatments. First line of treatment now is the Nidan Parivarjan, that is avoidance of underlying causes. Stress is the main cause of infertility. As I have already told you that mental happiness must be there. This is of prime importance. So stress factor must be controlled. So it should be avoided. Then quit smoking, avoid alcohol, caffeine and spicy foods. Then comes, I have treated a lot of cases where the stress is the main factor by Shirodhara. Shirodhara with Mahanarayan tel mixed with Til. So mixed with Til, Shirodhara actually manages the stress, stimulates FSH and LH production by pituitary, stimulate the growth of ovarian follicles hence. So Shirodhara is a very effective treatment. Only the stress factor, when you remove the stress factor, 50% case has been successfully treated in this. Next line of treatment is Shodhan Karma, detoxification of body by Snehan, Swedan, Vaman Virechan and Vasti. Since infertility is caused by yoni vyapads, which further are caused by Vad dosha, as said by Charak in Chikitsastan chapter 30, that nahi vatat rite yoni narinam sampradushyati. That means yoni dosh are caused by Vad dosha. So Vasti, which is the best treatment to pacify Vat, Vasti Vatharanam Shreshtham, is said to be the best treatment for yoni pradoshas and indirectly to the infertility. So Vasti should be given. Different Vastis have been described by different acharyas in different yoni vyapads as Kashmaryadi Uttar Vasti, managing Putragni yoni vyapad, Lashunadi Tel Vasti, Garbhasthapak, and it is called Deepan Pachan, Vrishya, and is Vat Kaf Shamak also. Shatavrayadi Rasayan Vastis, Putradayak, Jivantyadi Anuvasan Yamak, Bandhyatva Mustadi Yapna Vasti, Putrada, Sacharadi Tel Vasti, managing Vandhya, and Mritapatya. Shatpak Tel Vasti, Travrit Sneh Vasti, Bala Tel Vasti, Guruchyadi Rasayan Vasti. These all are Bandhyatva. So Kashyap has said, now I am giving this reference that Kashyap has said that Alpa Bija, Nashta Pushpa, Nashta Bija, Akarmanya Bija, Anuvasya iti. That means that any type of bij dosh, may it be immature follicle or anovulation, is best treated by Anuvasan Vasti. So Anuvasan Vasti is the best treatment for any type of bij dosh, that is in cases of immature ovum or anovulatory cycles. Now these are the my case studies showing evidence-based treatment of POF, means primary ovarian failure, through Vasti, where follicles don't mature and ultrasound findings show multiple small follicles even after 17th or 18th day of cycle. Uttar Vasti, you can see here that the multiple small follicles are found in the ultrasound findings. Uttar Vasti with Phal Kalyan Ghrith was administered for 3 cycles and Pushpa Dhanvaras given orally. Significant results have been seen here. You can see in the, this report on the right side that significant results have been found in follicular study where the follicles mature and also rupture, leading to ovulation. Not only in follicular study, but also in AMH values, significant results have been found. As we can see here, AMH before the treatment was 0.24 nanograms per ml, and after the treatment it raises to 5.23 nanograms per ml. Significant improvement. This is another case where follicular size is just 5 mm in right ovary and less than 4 mm in left ovary, even on day 15 of the cycle. The treatment given to the patient, again Uttarvasti with Fal Kalyan Ghrith for 3 cycles, and Pushpa Dhanwaras orally was given. In this case, Lakshmana mixed with Ghrith was also advised for Nasya Karma, because there was hormonal imbalance in this case. That's why Lakshmana with Ghrith was prescribed for Nasya Karma. Now, after taking the treatment, the follicular study done, which shows the mature follicle of about 23 by 19 mm in left ovary, though conception was not possible in this cycle due to faraway stay of the husband that time. Again in March, follicular study done, the dominant follicle is seen in left ovary. Intercourse advised to the couple, and the patient conceives in the month of March itself. Now, what is the scientific basis of Vasti? Vasti controls Vat, that is the neurological signals, balances HPO axis, that means hypothalamo-pituitary ovarian axis, and thus facilitates the proper release of ovum from the ovarian follicles, and also helps in the maturation of the follicles. Now, I would like to mention here that Vasti must not be recommended in cases of infections of reproductive organs, as for example, tubercular cases, because it might flare up the infection and spread it to upper pathways. So before giving Vasti, rule out the local infections as well as investigate the patient for tubercular, IgG and IgM. Third line of treatment is Shaman Chikitsa. After Shodhan Karm, Charak has said that female should consume til and mash, and male should consume milk and ghrith fortified with madhur aushadhis, and then go for intercourse. Different shaman yogas have been described for different Yonivyapats. As for example, Travrit Snepan, Dashmul Shirpan is prescribed in Vataj Yonivyapat. In Pittaj Yonivyapat, Falgrit, Jivniya Ghrith should be taken. Putragni Yonivyapat, Falgrit, Jivniya Gan Snik Dugpan should be recommended. Shandi, in Shandi Yonivyapat and in Suchimukhi Yonivyapat, Laghu Falgrit is advised. Jivniya Gan Snigdha Dugdpan is advised in Arajaska and Shushka Yonivyapat. Different acharyas have prescribed different shaman yoga. For example, Charak has prescribed Balaghrith, Kashmaryadi Ghrith, Brihat Shatavari Ghrith. These all are said to be Garbhat. Udumbaradi Tel Pichudharan is also prescribed in Vivrit Yoni, because it is Vivrit Yoni Shodhak, and Garbhad also. Ashtang Sangre has advised Falghrith, Shatavari Ghrith, Brihat Shatavari Ghrith, Kashmaryadi Ghrith, Sheet Kalyana Ghrith, Priyangvadi Tel, Lakshmanarisht are described by Bhaishajya Ratnavali. That means Sheet Kalyana Ghrith, Priyangvadi Tel and Lakshmanarisht by Bhaishajya Ratnavali. Along with these, Lodra and Gokshur has excellent results in the treatment of infertility. Kashyap has prescribed Shatpushpa Shatavari Kal. He has said that even Shandi can have son if taken Shatpushpa Shatavari Kal. In Sharangdhar, Laghu Falghrith, Paniya Kalyana Ghrith, Narayan Tel have been prescribed. Narayan Tel is not only prescribed for consumption but also for Nasya, Abhyang and Pan, Vasti and Vasti Karma also. Dashmularisht, Khandakadyale, Pug, Pak, Shatavari Tel, Jivniya Ganachun, Maharasnadi Yog, Yograj Gugul. According to the symptoms of the patient and according to the cause of infertility, we have to see which yog we have to prescribe to the patient. And also Prakriti should be taken into account of the patient. Harit Sanhita. In Harit Sanhita, Chandan, Ushir, Manjishtha, Girikarni has been advised with Sharkara and milk. Shwet Girikarni, Shwet Gunja, Shwet Punarnava should be taken with milk. Shwet Arkmool, Shwet Girikarni with milk. Shwet Girikarni should also be taken with Trifla, Arakvad, Vatsak, Pyasya along with milk. Lakshmana with milk. Vatankur with milk. Shatpushpa Kalp again here is described. Baladve or Chandandve, Punarnavadve, Drakshadve. Yog Ratnakar has given some of the Shaman Yog like Bala, Atibala, Madhuk, Vatankur, Gajkesar, Sita along with Madhu, Grit and Sheer. Ashwagandha Sheerpan is Ashwagandha Siddh Sheerpan could be taken. Lakshmana Mool uprooted in Pushya Nakshatra. Pushya Nakshatra has important role in the management of infertility. So Lakshmana Mool uprooted in Pushya Nakshatra should be taken with milk. Kurant Mool, Dhatki Pushp, Vatankur, Nilotpal with milk. Palash Patra with milk. Matulung Beej along with milk. Lakshmana is prescribed in Nasya form with milk as well as with ghee also according to the prakriti of the patient, as I have also told you in my another case. Second case, I have given Lakshmana in Nasya form with ghee. What is the scientific base of Shaman Yoga? Shaman Yoga balances the female hormones and HPO axis again. As for example, Shatavari strengthens the uterus and balances FSH and LH. Then Lodra stimulates FSH and LH and balances estrogen-progesterone ratio. Gokshur helps in ovulation, elevates testosterone levels. So these all are recommended by scientific basis. There is scientific base behind these yogas. Sorry. Charak. Charak in Sharir Sthan 8 has said, in spite of all these lines of treatment, he has explained that if the woman or the man has no sexual desires, has depression, has stress, is furious, has excessive sexual desires, or if the female has desire for another man or the male has desire for another woman, or there lies thirst factor, hunger or indigestion, then in spite of giving all the previous lines of treatment, there would not be conception. Conception is not possible if these are the underlying factors lies there. Now, fourth line of treatment is Pathya Pathya. Pathya means what to consume. For example, lashun, garlic, milk, mansras are indicated, should be taken. Bandhya Karkoti, Langli, Katutumbi. Katutumbi is like bitter gourd. Devdali. Devdali is of pumpkin family. Pumpkin also is helpful. Suryavalli, Bhiruk, Brahati spinach, tomatoes, beetroot, black cumin, beans, broccoli, dates, asparagus. Shatavari I have already told that stimulates FSH, LH. Amla balances FSH and LH. And what not to consume, what are the apathyas? Suran, that means jimikan, should not be taken. Amla dravya, citrus fruits, kanji. Kanji means fermented black carrot. And spicy foods. Already told in Nidan Parivarjan that spicy foods should not be taken. Next comes the yogasanas in the management of infertility. Balasana, Sarvangasana, Setubandhasana, Baddhakonasana, that is butterfly pose, Paschimottanasana, Bhujangasana are the important yogasanas which are helpful in the management of infertility. Then comes Devya Pashray Chikitsa. That means management through spiritual powers. Here lies Mantrucharan, Putreshti Yagya and Varanbandh. Mantrucharan described in Charak Sharir Sthan 8. in which the couple pray to the god with divine powers to bless them with valiant son. Then comes Putreshti Yagya, which is described in almost all the Ayurvedic texts. Putreshti Yagya is being performed with mantras by the method indicated in Vedas. Yagya will be completed by going round the fire with the husband and getting benediction from the Brahmanas. The couple should consume the leftover ghrith and then go for intercourse. At last, Varan Bandh, described by Kashyap in Revati Kalp. In this, women having observed righteous acts should observe fasting for 3 consecutive nights. The priest should tie Prajavaran to her. The woman should worship goddess Matangi, also called Vidya or destroyer of all the evils, curses and great sins. A garland made of Lakshmana, fruits of Putranjiva and Samudrafen, etc. should be put in the neck of the woman. It is assumed that non-achievement of progeny cannot happen to a woman having Prajavaran Bandh. So the woman with Prajavaran Bandh would definitely conceive. Moreover, wearing leftover clothes of fertile women, taking leftover meals of fertile women, taking leftover water and garlands of fertile women is also said to be helpful in treatment of Vandhya. So these are the this is the Davya Pashra Chikitsa, or we can say the management through spiritual powers. At last, I should say counseling of the patient and ruling out minute, negligible, but important causes of infertility, like intercourse in safe period. Patients are unaware of these facts. Immediately going out to micturate just after intercourse. Counsel the patient not to do this, avoid this, spreading the legs after intercourse. I have seen a lot of cases in my practice with these negligible but important causes. Patients come to my clinic taking a number of medicines from so many doctors, but unaware of the safe, unsafe period, unaware of the position, that is left lateral position should be taken after intercourse, and not to go for micturition after intercourse. In 70% of cases, just this much counseling with proper medicine, having supplements and vastis are helpful for ovulation and sufficient for the treatment. So be skilled enough to treat infertility. Best wishes to all of you. Thank you so much.